I find it ironic that over, well, actually less than a month ago, I was fired, but I was let go more than a month ago with no pay. And I was fired for telling the truth. I wasn't laughing at somebody's death. I didn't use the N word. I did not say anything offensive. But truth is offensive to people who don't believe in the truth. Now, there was a black woman, a nurse in Atlanta that got fired, who said awful, horrible things. F the relatives, F this. I mean, ghetto trash. I mean, just the speech, ghetto trash. The usual suspect. Hey, Daffy and Fred, how are you? And Tom Hanks, something happened to him. These people are making dumb comments. I mean, I never in my video said, oh, wow, I hope all these people die. I never said that. So why are they getting fired? Is it because the companies are pro-Republican, pro-Trump, pro-Charlie? Not at all. The leftist media has been condoning violence against us. Yeah, it's something. I saw something in the Facebook this morning. And yeah, it's crazy. But these people are upset that they got fired. And it's like, well, you rejoiced in an assassin. And number one, you're a nurse in the medical field. That kind of contradicts what you do. Sweet lips. Thank you. And I'm sorry to say this, but in light of what's going on, I believe a lot of people in my former workplace need to be fired for rude comments that they made. And I told HR, but of course they don't care. That's corporate. They wanted somebody to focus on. They got somebody to focus on because they're trying to appease the crowd. And I need to say this. I'd be willing to bet you that the people who turned me in for my video, I'll bet you they don't care that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. In fact, I'll bet you deep down inside they're happy about it. How much do you want bet? That's the double standard of that community. Pretty sad. Hey, Chance, how are you? And it's insane. Lots of people are losing their jobs. An older man with MSNBC was let go. I find it interesting that MSNBC had Joy Reid, one of the biggest race baiters of all time. MSNBC also hired Raggedy Ann Psaki, the one that was Biden's first press secretary, who I'm just going to do an analysis on her. She was bitey, she was biatchy, she was rude, she would never answer a direct question. She had an attitude like a middle school girl. And you know what offends me is how difficult it is for us. We got to work hard, not get the greatest pay. These people can schmooze into jobs, have no experience, they're a liberal. And they get hired, and they're full of complete unprofessional hatred. That's right, Paladin. It all sickens me how many rejoicing that I heard. Yeah, it was. Biden did not know how to hire a press secretary. Both of those women were a joke. But to be fair, Psaki was horrible. Horrible. And the media is facing the reality that they've been encouraging violence. They've been screaming about gun control. Gavin Newsom, they pulled up an old video of his saying, us, MAGA, whatever you want to call us. I'm not a MAGA. I voted for Trump. He said they should be punched in the face. Oh yeah, did you see all the freaks out there, piercings, tats, everything? I mean, they did not look good. Women and boys celebrating, laughing, mocking on their TikTok. I mean, even if Hitler got killed, I'm not going to lie. If I was alive when Hitler and found out he was dead, I'd be like, thank you, God. But laughing hysterically, really? We have to be careful. Do not rejoice when calamity befalls your enemy. It's okay to say, thank you, God, for dealing with this person. It's okay. It is okay. But to listen to the left act like they're the high moral ground when they're not, rejoice. And Charlie Kirk was standing for the truth. That ought to wake us up that we got millions of people in this country. They support Cardi B. They support Nicki Minaj. They support all this racial, anti-white, anti-Trump, anti-Republican, anti-God. And what's really hypocritical is many from the African-American community claim to be Christians voting in Democrat trash that is ruining this country. I'm going to tell you, you can be a Christian and you can sin and do a lot of things. But if you are a Christian and you are voting for the Democratic Party, I can say that you are probably not filled with the Spirit. You have the Holy Spirit, but you're not submitting to Him. No, it doesn't, and I should have clarified that. I'm talking about they really look ugly. I should have clarified that. I mean, you can just tell by looking at them, they look like ugly, nasty, foul, venomous liberals. I've seen tattoos that look nice, but these liberals don't look good. They're awful. Thank you, Elemental. Good morning, Will. Paladin, you have to remind me, who were you again? You changed your idea and now I can't remember who you were. My bad. I got to get used to all these changes. Yeah, Nick, listen, I didn't mean to imply that. There's a look that goes with liberal, hateful youngsters. And you all know what I mean. I mean, these youngsters getting on there probably aren't even 20. What is their hatred for Charlie? Thank you, Daffy. What is their hatred for the guy? Because he spoke the truth. I mean, you will get the feeling when you listen to liberals and AOC and these people, they act like we are the SS, the Nazis. I got you, Nicholas, and you're right. I don't like it. I don't like that at all. I don't like to see that. And what bothers me is Whoopi Goldberg was defending him the other day. Of course. Don't say it, Mike, but I'm gonna. Defending skin color. If a white guy had done that to a black person, Whoopi would not defend a white guy at all. We know this. And I saw this exemplified at transportation. Blacks defend blacks. Blacks promote blacks. Blacks favor blacks, and they won't snitch on each other. That's a fact. I saw that down there. You saw Teresa Stokes let that clown go again and again because of the color of his skin and the color of her skin. This is what they're doing, folks. And the black community at large, not all, they don't care about a Ukraine woman's death. A black guy got on Facebook and said, y'all whining over one white girl. We've had 400 years. I said, typical black racist response. And don't bother getting back to me. You are off base. Of course, but Whoopi Goldberg, she should have stuck to Sister Act and left it right there. Whoopi Goldberg is not a verifiable political commentator. She doesn't have control over her own weight. She is extremely racist to whites. The show, The View, just the title is sheer assumed arrogance. It's not The View. Barbara Walters said she wanted to create a show with diverse opinions. Give me a break, Barbara. You're dead and gone, but you created a show with exactly like-minded liberals that spew venom and hate towards conservatives, Christians, Trump, whites. These women make... Doesn't it make you sick? How much do those people make on a set? Hey, Mina, how are you? How much does black olives matter? I like that. I'm going to start saying that. I like black olives better than pimento olives. You know what bothers me, though? How much these media journalists make. These media journalists make way too much money for doing nothing, sitting there running their mouths. The View is nothing but a bunch of overgrown middle school girls that never grew up. Never. Yes, Mina, I cannot comment on your shorts. You turned off my ability to comment. You have to go back in there and look. I'm not allowed to comment. I don't know why. I can only comment on your lives. Yeah, William, I agree. Now, I'm going to say this. I'm not racist. Me telling the truth about a race of people is not racism. But it is. I cannot comment. It will not let me comment. It will let me comment only on your live videos. Really, Paladin. Wow. We have a problem in America because one of the biggest problems in the African American community is there's within the 13% an element, just like I said the other day, it's like a cult. You cannot get through to their thinking. You cannot get them to see the error of their ways. You look at these guys that get arrested for stuff. They've got to argue. They've got to be non-compliant. And it is literally a different mindset. If the police come and pull me over, that is not the time for me to exercise the alpha crap. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, there's just, I mean, we're not even going to talk about this because it goes endless discussion. Yeah, IQ and Mason, yeah. Mina, I like your videos and your dancing. Did you see that I made one like yours with that? Hello? That's funny. You were so funny. You went. They got this thing now that the ladies are using over there. It shows a helicopter landing right in their real world, and they turn and walk. and they climb up into the helicopter. It's kind of cool. I want to know how to break through the barrier of the African American community and their insistence on believing complete falsehood about us. I got fired because I said the truth in a 3-minute video, but they say stuff at the workplace. A parts lady yelled at me when I told her, yeah, there was a shooter in New York, walked into a skyscraper, shot a Blackstone. He said, Trump. And she went off on a tirade. I said, Trump has nothing to do with this, and I didn't even bring up politics. You cannot have a discussion with these people beyond their music and their culture. I have to be silent, and I was. In the workplace, I did not get into offensive discussions with them. Oh, it's these chips. The bag's destroyed. I try to open it carefully, and it likes to split down the middle. They're made out of vegetables, Mina. Potatoes, carrots. What's the green stuff? Garlic, potato starch, spinach. Oh yeah, good stuff. Well, thank you. You know me, Mina. I just make my own stuff. This is the bottom of this. You know, Michael's not normal. I cut the bottom off. Isn't that fun? Michael's just crazy sometimes. Thank you, Daffy. Yeah, I like the red. It was nice to see E-Rock and his wife come down yesterday. They bought that nice chest of drawers that I redid. They were very happy with it. We went to lunch at a Mexican restaurant. Hey, Bonita, how are you? Oh, Frayed, that's right. Oh my gosh, I got to get used to that. Do you, Mina? I like your clothing too. You dress pretty in your videos. You've got that, the way you move and the dance, it's so cute. You have that. You're just cute, man. And it's funny. You look so young the way you are. I think you said you're 40 something. You look good your age, Mina. It's good. I need to get a sync base. I got some putsy stuff I got to do in there. No, I didn't do much. All I did was get some great stuff and spray in the gaps where it would have taken too much of the drywall compound. I got to cut away the excess. Thank you, Adam. That's awesome. I like the way you move. Yes. Mina has cute videos in Nepal dancing in her colorful outfits. She's a pretty lady. She's got that long, beautiful black hair, and she's full of energy, and I like to see that. Sometimes our culture over here is very calloused and jaded. Sometimes our culture, sometimes I wonder why a lot of people want to come over here. I look at the Philippines, I look at Mina in Nepal, and she looks happy and carefree. You don't always see that here. But I've noticed something over the years. Thank you, Mina. You know what bothers me? And we're going to capitalize on this for a minute. Now, the Bible says, why do the wicked prosper? And you see that here. You can get a job at The View as a liberal and spew lies all day and make goo gobs of money. You can be Raggedy Ann, a.k.a. Psaki, and get hired on at MSNBC. That doesn't take any skill. That is, if you want to really grab onto a spider web of injustice, go ask how many Republicans MSNBC hires to run the news desk. or CBS. They're not an equal opportunity employer. They're not an equal opportunity employer. Hello, Jason. And our news media discriminates big time, and they're the ones telling us that whites are racist, while they hire mostly whites or minorities, but you have to be a Democrat liberal. You cannot have my views. You cannot have your views that are here. You will not get a job there. Maybe as running technical equipment, but even then that's debatable. Somebody needs to crack that wide open. How about the public schools? How many Republican school teachers do you know in the public school system? How many conservatives you know that are in the superintendent positions? I'd be shocked. Other than my roommate, she's the only conservative Republican voter I know who teaches at Richmond County Schools. Doggy comes in. Fred, you're crazy. Yeah, he changed his name, man. And I thank everybody for your encouragement. I thank everybody for finally getting past the barrier of me and my weird style. You've heard my views. You know where I stand. I do not support that trans stuff. I do not. You are either a man or a woman. But to change your sex, you can't do that. You can mutilate yourself. And Tyler Robinson was not dating a woman. He was dating a dude. Tyler and another guy were gay guys having gay frolics. That's it. And now it sounds more palatable if he's a transgender. No, they're two gay guys getting gay jollies. Call it what it is. You'll have to, I don't know how you do it from here. Yeah, it bothers me little by little. I think the biggest thing that hits me now is being alone in this place. When Erock and his wife were in here, it was nice. We went to the restaurant. We went separate ways because I told him how to get on the interstate easy from here. And it's sad. It's like, wow, when Nene and Mob Rules came down here, I live in a dark place. I thank God that he's protected me in my home. But it's not a good place. I got to go down today and hit another hiring agency and see if we can get anywhere. And I don't like this. Do I need to not mention the last 6 years? That doesn't look good. He hasn't been employed in 6 years. Who's going to grab me? But it's a temporary labor staff. So I'm just going to sit down and talk to him and say, look, I got a CDL, I got this, I'm a hard worker, I've been working on my house, I've been doing odd jobs. I'm not going to put all that because I did a lot of personal for hire stuff. Who's CK? Hey, Sam, how are you? And I want to capitalize on that. The wicked prosper. I saw it at my workplace. They don't get fired. They don't get disciplined. They don't get written up. I mean, years of infractions. Oh, got you. For a minute, I thought it was Calvin Klein. I'm like, that can't be Calvin Klein. My bad, Bonnie. Calvin Klein. We say Calvin Kling. Hello, Barca. Welcome, Uncle Incel. Bonita. Yeah, CK, man. Calvin Kling. I finally got this stuff to work yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I've had this over a year. Platinum Rush. This was Paris. It was a Paris Hilton set. My roommate laughs. She goes, "You bought Paris Hilton perfume?" I said, "Yeah, isn't that hysterical?" I'm not even a fan of her, but the stuff smells good. I'm a mess, dude. I'm a mess. I have to amuse myself. I literally do what I do to amuse and entertain myself. I put on my post the hashtag for Cash App. Somebody let me know if it works, if it pulls up my thing. The problem is I post it on here, but how do you scan it with your phone if you're using your phone to watch this? How does that work? Does anybody know? Can Paris Hilton is the best? I'll have to find that, Amanda. Thank you. Oh, yeah, that was entertaining, All Saints. She was afraid of it. What is the link, TTJ? I put the hashtag. I screenshot of the hashtag. Will that work? Somebody told me that's all I needed to do. I have a BA in Christian theology, not that it makes me more Christian anyway. No, but at least what college did you go to, Daffy? Jesus loves everyone, wants them to come to him, but when we have a relationship with him, God becomes our Father and he does provide our needs. Good morning, Rob. How are you? Hey, Chris. I'm all right. But how do I do that, doggy? I can't do any of this. There's nobody to walk me through this stuff, and it is extremely hard to figure it out. I can't use YouTube Studio for this. I can't do AdSense. It's a nightmare, and they take such a big cut. I'm not paying Google a dime. Nobody should have to donate, and 30% of their donation to me goes to Google. They don't need any more money from any of us. They're filthy, greedy rich. I don't know how to link. I don't know how to do that. I can't link anything. All I can do is take a picture of the hashtag, post it on post under my post. That's the only thing I was told to do. And I'm like, I don't even know if that works. I was just going off what somebody said. This stuff is so confusing, guys. It's ridiculous. I need a university degree just to figure this dumb stuff out. I'm not into that. I get very frustrated because they don't make it easy. Do not make it easy. God should TTJ. I guess I should do that. I didn't even think of that. Hey, Evie. Yeah, it's gotten ridiculous. AdSense is a nightmare. I'm not even through it. They said it takes an hour to set up your tax thing. Can you just put a W-4, W-2? I fill in the things. What is so hard? I'm going to say this. This is my opinion. The tech geeks of the tech world do this on purpose to make it seem like they're so smart. I remember back in 2011, I had UCAM. Everything was easy. It is not easy today. They have convoluted everything. It's frustrating. I can't monetize this. I put the hashtag, and I'm assuming if you hold your phone over it, it should zero you into the Cash App. I can't use any of the others because they require an email and a phone number. Cannot do that. So let me try something. I'll give you this, and you guys can tell me if this works. Does anybody in here have Cash App? You do not have to donate to make a point. Just see if it'll get you into this. Where are we? Okay, they said something called a cash tag. I set it up. No capitals, all one word. Somebody write this down if you've got Cash App. It's all one word. Pacific Ocean Asia 77. I did that because it's the numbers, not SEVN. Pacific Ocean Asia, all one word together, 77. That's my cash tag. See if it gets you in. Let me know if that works. If that works, then I'll put that somehow on the link. Or if nothing else, I can leave it in the comments. No, I can't. Nobody's even donated, so I don't even know if it's working. I set up the Cash App account. It's showing that it's all that. And this is stupid. So I took a picture of my driver's license and my passport. We can't verify your identity. That's because you guys are dumb. There's a picture. There's my face. How do you... This is the problem I run into with this crap. It is... don't get me started. We're going to get off of that because they're making this, and they do this with applications, to do everything to weed out all of society so they get one person to apply. That's what they're doing. AdSense, Google, is a bastard organization. They want you to do all the work, you to place ads, you to go through this Fort Knox matrix to get it set up so that they can take 40%. That's called lazy. You're going to take 40% of my money. You advertise me, you set it up, and you do it. Lazy. They want us to do it all. Bull crap. I don't want Google to get a dime from me. You did. Okay. So does this allow you to donate, Daffy? So the cash tag works. Okay. Thank you, Evie. Thank you. That's all I needed to know. Thank you. That's awesome. So that's what I need to post. And you know what? I'm not going to pressure anybody. If anybody feels led and they want to do that, bless you. My channel is free to anybody. And if I can make something off of it, praise God. This is not, I'm not a pastor. I'm not ministry. I'm still looking for a job, but it'd be nice. I would love to make $62,000 a year like Jordan Riley. I was saying if I made money off of this enough to live on, I would literally travel. I'd go and meet some of you. We'd do a live together. This is so-and-so. This is what they do for a living. Spotlight normal Americans. This channel would go boom. Because it'd be spotlighting you. I'd be in it, but it'd be you guys. And it would be cool because Americans go, this is awesome, man. He went to New Jersey. He went to here. He met... And it's a window into your world. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's doing that. I know, and that I understand TTJ, but if you use Zelle, I don't know about Venmo, any PayPal, forget it. Why am I going to give my phone number, my email out for Drescher to come on here and be an idiot again? No thanks. East Tennessee. Amanda, are you near Knoxville? Somebody's throwing up. Somebody waited a minute to subscribe so they could throw barf emojis. All right. Yeah, I stayed just outside Knoxville in 2019 on my way down here to Georgia. Combative excuse. Me? You're not talking to me, Barker, are you? I'm not Aussie. Oh, I can't because I'd have to end the live stream. But thank you. Thank you. Oh my gosh. So who played? What happened? I follow sports about as much as I follow transgender individuals. I'm not going to buy a suit. I'm not paying money for a suit. And the jobs that they got that I'm looking for, labor and stuff, when I go down and I put my hair in a ponytail, I'm not going to wear this. I mean, shoot. But no, I'm not going to chop off my hair and do all that. They want to offer me $100,000 a year to cut off my hair. Cool. I'm in. I don't want to lose my hair, but you want to pay me $100K for a job? Cool. I'll do it. I will, Daffy. Thank you. Stig, this is my channel. And I don't look unwell. That's your opinion. Yours. I am one with Christ. T3, I know him. He became my personal savior in 1985. What is the discussion today? Gotcha, Amanda. People getting fired is the topic. A black woman in Atlanta is a nurse, made vulgar, hateful comments. F his family, F his wife. This is what angers me about the black community. I've seen it down here. They don't care if they offend people. They do not care. They'll say whatever they want to say until I, as a white guy, say anything truthful. Then it's a racial issue. And you cannot reason with people that are dyed-in-the-wool leftist blacks. You cannot get through to them. You cannot reason with them. They're like a cult. It's like Mormons. Mormons are told don't listen to anybody outside the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I notice that they are blowing up the internet with these LDS commercials. I thought we already established the Denver Post in Denver before I left in 2019. The Mormon Church, after over 100 years, finally admitted that Joseph Smith was a polygamist, even though they vehemently denied it. Why would you join a religion that lied? Why would you join a religion that says blacks cannot enter the priesthood? But in 1970s, the president of the Mormon Church, the only paid position, by the way, they own Marriott and PepsiCo, and you wouldn't believe all their holdings. They also have something to do with Safeway stores. Suddenly had a revelation that God changed his mind and said blacks can enter the priesthood. Funny, my Bible says God changes not. So people say you're Mormon bashing. No, I'm not. Mormon doctrine is false. Mormonism will not lead you to Jesus Christ. They are not the church. They are not of Jesus Christ, and they're not Latter-day Saints. They're Latter-day lost. And that's a fact. They believe in polytheism, many gods. They believe that Jesus was the half-brother of Lucifer. They believe that Mary had sex with God to make Jesus. They believe they'll inhabit the planet Kolob. They believe the women will be eternally pregnant. I mean, this is just a few of their high water marks and beliefs. And Joseph Smith was a 33rd degree Mason. Yeah, pretty much. I see, because I just do things. I just do what I do. Thank you, Ren. Jesus loves everybody. He wants everybody to be saved. I understand, Stig, but you're still here. So it's obviously not bothering you enough to leave. I think if you understood what I was going through, you might understand why I do things a little bit out there. I don't think you understand what it's like to live in a culture that hates you. I don't think you understand what it's like to go through what I've gone through. But, I don't wear a suit and tie. I don't. I'm not that kind of a person. Fair enough. I don't understand why a lot of people do what they do, but but I try to talk on issues. I mean, if an element from the black community doesn't like us, whatever, I can't change that. But stop lying about us. Stop playing victim. Stop saying that you went through 400 years of racism. The black community in America did not go through 400 years of racism. America is not even, what is it, 225 years? Next year will be 225 years old or something like that. Or 50, I don't know. 250, I think. And this 400-year lie is a joke. And none of these young people went through any of this. They didn't pick cotton. They weren't sharecroppers. They weren't hung from trees. They weren't sold and treated as slaves. My gosh, look at all the black people in sports and entertainment. They're making more money than most of us. For what? For what? To play ball and to sing a stupid song with the F word and the N word in it? Yeah, there's definitely privilege. I don't get $1 million for anything I create, ever. And please don't tell me that stuff with all that profanity and the N word is talent. It ain't. If I could make one song once that hit over $1 million, I'd be like, wow. What do you mean I don't think we should compare struggles? I will compare my struggles with black folk because they don't have a struggle any more than I do. That's the lie that's perpetuated. Blacks have more of a struggle than whites. That is a lie. I have gone through abuse. I've gone through rejection. I've gone through racism dished out at me by blacks, by Hispanics, by some Asians. And I've been discriminated against by, white culture because I don't make this much money. We're a caste system. America is a caste system. Somebody like me, people make 100,000 or more a year, they're not going to be my friend. They're not going to be my friend because it's all about money. It's all about you're going to hang out with your money crowd. Shoot, if it works, Icy, do it. I'm in my home. I'm going to be comfortable. Jamie, that's interesting. Absolutely, Chance. Amanda, I agree with you. I'm trying. It's depressing. It's defeating. It's like I said, you have to play games in this society to get ahead, and Christians aren't supposed to play games. They do. Hello, Anime Queen. Hello, Lara Shia. No, I don't think I'm the only one that's got struggles. This struggle is just new to me. It just hurts more. How do you know if God wants you to do something? What do you mean, TTJ? Fair enough, Lara Shia. You doing okay? Shoot, it's almost always mental, Amanda. It's even with me, it's how do you get to the point where you rest in God and just do what you can and then rest? Pastor was saying that we need to seek first his kingdom and his righteousness. Do I do that? Right now, I just want to get a job because I'm used to working. So I didn't have to sin as much yesterday, Jamie. Oh my gosh. TGJ, yeah, we all struggle with that. I never hear an audible voice. I have impressions. Right now, I question a lot of things because of what happened. It's like, well, my gosh, I didn't see this boomerang or this curveball coming. Black jeans and a normal shirt. That's it. Man, I have to silence my phone when I go to bed because I can't, nothing I can do about anything when I'm asleep. Yeah. Buy me a ticket on aeroplane. Yeah, but then I'm falsifying. I know I hate to have a gap of 6 years because there is no question about my work ethic. And different people tell me conflicting things. The employer is not allowed to divulge what you were let go of. They can only ask, is he rehireable? All that is semantical crap to me. No, he's not rehireable. Well, gee, that means he got fired then. I mean, there's just stupid games that they play. Me, no, I'm divorced by my choice. I left a bad marriage. Because I did a video 3 minutes talking about a beatdown by 6 African American bad acting people on a white woman in Cincinnati, and I got fired, even though I did it in my house. It had nothing to do with, I didn't mention the workplace, but somebody at work saw it, got offended, and HR got involved. And then they continued digging on my YouTube channel, and I did 4 spoofs where I had a roofer's hatchet, a dummy grenade with the hole drilled in it, and a kitchen knife where I was walking to my house where I did the black and white scene, and I'm walking through the house with creepy music and the troll, and I'm going, spoofs. And the employees who I've been threatened, I've been harassed at work, I've gone to chain of command talk, they don't do anything about these repeat offenders. I've always been nice to everybody. I do my work really well. I repaired bus seats. I drove school buses for years. Then I got out of that after I got vertigo, and then I rode as a monitor on special ed buses. They had me on certain buses because the other monitors and drivers didn't want to deal with certain difficult students. I did just fine with them. The mother of the students liked me, and I did my job well. And so then the employees went to the director and said, these videos make us scared for Mike coming back. He might try to harm us. I'm going to come to work with 150 people, most of them African American, twice my size, with a dummy hand grenade, a kitchen knife, and an axe. How far am I going to get with that? That's not even in me. That's so stupid. Stupid. And they wrote a 2-page, the superintendent wrote a 2-page I read it on YouTube without the names mentioned. And I'm like, a teacher who works for the school system lived in my house. She heard my videos, heard my views. She said, this is a witch hunt. The superintendent is completely incompetent. She's just catering to the black people because if they cry racism and they don't get rid of me, we know what's going to happen. That's exactly what it was. Aussie slang. I don't drink, Andrew, and I didn't lose a bet. Man, I'd like to see Jackie. She's from Australia, and she has not been in here in a while. I know she's going through some struggles. Yes, Amanda. Put some shrimp on the bobby. Kentucky slang is great. I'm unfamiliar with Kentucky slang. Totally. Chukas. Chance, I said that to HR. I said, have you ever taken a look at transportation employees and what they post? You'd be firing a lot of people if you did. When I told him what was going on in transportation, the head of HR said, well, this is the first time this has been brought to our attention. I said, well, you might want to get on down there and start looking. I said, you need to teach sensitivity training to the black populace because they say, oh, that's a white thing. Oh, that's what white people eat. We don't eat that. We don't. Everything is a racial issue. Everything. You cannot have a normal conversation. It's white or black. It's white or black. It's white or. This is the most dysfunctional workplace of any transportations I've ever worked. I did my job. I never got praised for the hard work. Nobody did what I did. I fixed 150 buses that were in rough, bad shape. The metal poking through the seat covers with the foam broke down. I ripped buses apart down to the metal, even replaced or re-screwed in the metal seat back to the frame. I mean, these kids trashed these buses down here. And watch this. Richmond County is one of the poorest districts in Georgia, and the superintendent can make up to $330,000 a year. For what? And then I wonder why my property taxes on my house are going up. A large portion of that goes to the schools. I think they need to get a watchdog group to start looking at the schools and waste. Because transportation, the school systems waste in this country. I was talking to my friend up in New Hampshire. He's in a town of 38,000. $100 million a year in taxes to run the schools in a town. 38,000. $50 million just for the high school. $50 million. Now, I lived in Prescott. I think that was in the 30s. I don't believe Prescott High was $50 million to run. That's crazy. And the Democrats are all in charge of the education system. They're screwing the pooch, and these kids aren't doing well. Anime Queen. Mina, did you come and go? Did you leave me? If you leave me now, she has a pet wombat in here too. I think the education system is a bloated piggy. And I hate to say it, but honestly, we could do away with the buildings. COVID taught us that. Make everybody go online, since all these kids are obsessed with online anyway. Put their education online. I tell you what, save the taxpayers a lot of money from buildings, heating, maintenance, janitorial staff, everything. Well, thank you, TTJ. I appreciate that. And I believed in the schools for years. I made my money driving a bus. I'm not rich, but I bought a house and I saved, but still. Drongo or dongo means stupid person, right? Yeah, I want to put some shrimp on the Barbie. That's what I want to do. Australia. My cousin used to call his wife a wombat. Check this out. My cousin had married a Peruvian woman, and she is a mess. I do not particularly enjoy her. And they're divorced. He finally left the marriage. She cheated on him. And when I would talk to him on the phone before I ever came out to see him in the summer of 2008, she'd be yelling and screaming in the background, trying to get attention. I said, why does she do that when I'm talking? He said, every time I get on the phone with you, she does that. I said, she's a grown woman. Why is she going la, 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 and getting up close to the phone to... He said, because she's a wombat. Just amazes me. Tasty little sea roaches. It's prawns. I have to tell y'all something you'll get a chuckle out of. When I lived in Hong Kong, growing up in the U.S. has its ignorant disadvantages. And I remember I told the lady, I said, let's go, I'm going to cook dinner tonight in the wok. Wow, you know how to do that? I said, yeah, but let's go to Kaibo and let's get the stuff. I want to get shrimp, green onion, potatoes. And she goes to get the shrimp. I said, no, I don't want that. I want the pink stuff. What you mean? I said, that's gray. I want the pink shrimp. And she looked at me, there is no pink shrimp. I said, yeah, there is. And then her friend was with her and she said, Michael, I think the pink, Michael, that turns pink when it's cooked. I said, huh? I said, man, I thought, I did not know that. I did not know that the shrimp was cooked and it changed color. So when I threw that gray shrimp in the wok, started doing what I was doing, I was like, well, look at that. I had no idea meat changed color. I know it'll change from, like beef will turn from red to black if you burn it, but I did not know that shrimp changed color. That's how ignorant I was. Because you're so used to buying stuff in the store. Wow, I felt stupid. What is chukas? Yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard that one a few places. Fair to Midland, partly cloudy. Got you, hack rat. And I did not know it was gray before it was cooked. Yeah, I'm like, what? I don't want that gray stuff. Give me the pink shrimp. Man, I remember one time walking through Shangwan to go to my favorite restaurant. I'm walking down these narrow streets that are like alleys, and I heard all this yelling, and this Chinese man was in his, they got them roll-up doors, and he was in his shop. As I get closer, I hear all this shouting, and stuff is flying and clattering onto the cement, paint cans, stuff. And I stop. I mean, stuff's just bang, crash. I stop and I kind of peered around. He's standing there going, I just went, I walked in front. I just want to make sure I was going to get hit with a projectile. He was having a meltdown in there. So funny. Then somebody got out of a car and peed in the middle of the street. They used to complain about the mainlanders would spit in public on the sidewalk and then just pee. I heard stories of people who went to China mainland and they'd be eating at a restaurant and the guy would just walk and stand in front of the window and pull it out and whizaroo. Very strange stuff. And these aren't indigent. They just don't have any sense of shame. They do not have the right to fire me, and nobody agrees with you, Saltwater. You don't even know who I am. I mean, they can hide behind legalese, but they didn't have a right. I didn't say I was happy somebody got killed or assassinated. I talked about a Cincinnati woman being beat down by 6 African Americans. And I said in that video, they claimed somebody said the N-word, and I said, so what? I don't use it. But if you're going to use the N-word in your race, but a white guy says it and you call that racist, that's a double standard. So why does Nicki Minaj and why does Cardi B in black culture use it, fling it, sing it? And that offended people at work. And the people at work use the N-word. So I'm like, they didn't like it because I told the truth. I post videos all the time, Saltwater. You must be black. I'm guessing you are African American and you're going to do the race go round. You're going to be kicked out of here real quick because you don't want to hear the truth. I post all kinds of stuff on my social media. I talked about the white boy that killed Charlie Kirk's. And I had some very pointed things to say about that. Well, good for you. You must be liberal. You must be liberal. Democrat, you vote for Crapola Harris. Let's see where you're coming from here. Time to pony up to the bar. I'm waiting. So what are you? What's your angle? Seahorse. So why are you attacking me? I shouldn't say attacking. Why are you commenting to me? If I post something on social media on my time, what does that have to do with me doing school bus seat repair? Not a damn thing. So if a black person at work gets offended by it, that's their problem, not mine. They said things in the workplace that offended me. They said, fuck Trump in the workplace. They're not supposed to do that. Did HR get on that? No. The system is liberal, dude. So if you're black and you're liberal, you can threaten people, you can steal from the company, you can bash in buses over and over again and still have a job. But if I or the Puerto Rican ladies do any of that, fired. Fired. So hear what I'm saying here. There's favoritism if you're black down here in the South. Big time. Big time. We all see it. No, he does not. He doesn't look anything like me at all. Got you, Jamie, because of my dressing. I love to do this just because. Smashing stereotypes, one video at a time. The double standard is ridiculous, Gravity, and you know it. You see it. Anybody who's got a thinking brain says it. Hello, Nuku. Island girl. Welcome. Hi, Teresa. Teresa's so cute. Teresa's cool. Teresa, she makes videos. I make music video, and then she take the music and make video. I like that. That's cute. Sometimes I take her music too. Yeah, no problem. Walang anuman, Teresa. Ay, naku, buhay pa rin life. Kumusta ka? Ocean chukas. What is chukas? I asked that, and I didn't see the answer. Chukas. Does Chewbacca eat chukas instead of cookies? I'm just tired of the polarization in this country, that whites are not allowed to talk about blacks. And now you got blacks coming out talking about blacks. And they're hated by the blacks too. If anybody talks about the bad behavior in the black community, you're a racist, you're an Oreo. And that's Richmond County. Richmond County has a huge amount of crime. A huge amount of violence on blacks. And blacks on blacks. And to be character assassinated, called a racist, offensive, giving no thought to my coworkers. Superintendent, you didn't give a shit about what was done to me over 6 years, so stuff it. You're a woke liberal. And there was no call for this. You do not have authority, unless I made some sort of a direct reference to Richmond County. You have no right. I have a right to comment on a political event, especially when it was another state. I have a right to comment on racists. I have a right to freely talk about racists. That does not make me racist. What you have is a lot of racists in the black community that hide behind their color and say, we are incapable of being racist. I cry BS. Some of the blacks I work with live under a very thin line and cross it constantly. They definitely got a racist attitude towards us. They'll be nice to your face, but they harbor views that I'm white, I don't understand. It's the poor me black syndrome, and it just goes on and on. I've watched this all my life. And you see these companies doing DEI hire. You saw it in the offices. They've got almost all black in the offices. Almost all black, and they hire more and more and more. And they don't even get along with each other. It's crazy. People that are qualified don't get hired for certain positions that come open. People that are not qualified get hired because of the color of their skin, and they know somebody and they're friends with somebody. You know, and I know that white companies do that and Hispanic companies do that, but I'm just saying. Blacks act like they don't do that. They do. Even other blacks have said there's so much favoritism up in that office. I said, I know. But ask the other people that are down there that are not black. They see the same thing I do. Other departments see the same thing I do. I just find that interesting. Jamie, you're funny. Good luck and where I'm from. Oh, okay. Thank you, Barca. A Cuban hillbilly. Now that there is a dichotomy. Hello, Cleo. Thanks for the hearts. Yeah, it's depressing in this town. You're not allowed to speak the truth. Come down here and watch the way these cats drive. They're terrible. Traffic laws, what the hell are those? I mean, there's a whole cultural mindset down here. You see it at work. They don't follow the rules. They don't do what they're told. they do what they're told on some things and ignore the other rules. It's crazy. Oh, Nuku, I just do crazy things just because I'm just Michael. Michael being Michael. There you go, Jamie. Thank you, Nuku. I'm just different. I get a lot of flack for it, but I'm getting used to it little by little. Hello of the stars, how are you? What's Borat? Is that beret? Oh, got you. What is it about? I think I'm going to have some oatmeal. Man, I need to buy some eggs. Man, when I had my roommate here, she fixed such good dinners, and now I'm getting lazy. I cook, but I just kind of eat the same thing all the time. It's got all 4 food groups in it, but still, I need to broaden my horizons. My psychology is affected by not being employed. I don't like this crap at all. At all. Just sucketh. Daffy, you still in the room? Bananas. Everybody's going bananas. You have to have a fan in the South. They got them on the front porches here. I put one in my room. There was not one in my room. That has helped. Even though I got AC, it still helps to have a fan. Now, I do not run the fan in the winter. Not at all. No, that sounds good, actually. An omelet. Nuku Island girl, are you from the islands? I didn't cook. We went out to a restaurant. There's Daffy. Daffy. I remember watching a Daffy Duck cartoon once years ago. It was so funny. I don't know what the Mrs. Daffy's name was, but the female duck told Daffy to watch the duck eggs. And this alligator, what am I doing? Man, I am so out of it. I gotta get on a schedule again because this is killing me. Totally out of the mood. Trying to heat up water when I don't need to do that. It's instant dum-dum. The alligator kept stealing the egg. The egg would roll down the hill, the gator would take it, Daffy go get the egg, and the gator would take it, and the Daffy would get it, and then the duck, Mrs. Duck, come back and see Daffy running around and said, I told you to sit on those eggs. And he says, but I was trying to, and he's trying to explain, I don't want to hear anymore. You sit on those eggs and don't leave them. So she goes off again, and then the gator keeps taking the egg, and the chase begins. She comes back, he's not sitting on the egg, and comes back. What are you doing? But dear. And he's trying to talk to her. Look, if you say one more word, I'm going to slap your face off. And he goes, but. And the beak lands on the ground and goes, yes, dear. The kids didn't even get that back in the day. That was so funny. Oh my gosh. Daffy. That stuff was funny. There was stuff in the cartoons that kids did not pick up on. Daffy Duck. Elmer Fudd. Why you wascally wabbit? Porky Pig. Tasmanian Devil. Classic stuff. Yogi and Boo Bear. Hanna-Barbera and the Wacky Races. Suffering Succotash. Anybody remember the TV show Shmoo? Shmoo? That was weird. Shmoo. Then when I was in high school, they had Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye. Transformers, Robots in Disguise. They had My Little Pony, She-Ra and the Hordes. Be very, very quiet. Yes, Barca. See, I grew up in California. The girls went to high school like this. I was distracted in middle school constantly. I'd be seated behind one of them and I'd be like, wow, that's cool. I'll be right back. I have to make a deposit in the porcelain account. All right, so what's going on in chat? Sock puppet. Cleo. Which song is that? Oh gosh, the lamb chops. How many kids used to sing that back in the 90s? That and Baby Shark. 99 bottles of beer on the wall, wheels on the bus. Transformers, more than meets the eye. Man, that's trip. Skinnamarink-a-dink-a-dink, skinnamarink-a-doo. I love you. Oh my gosh, I forgot about that. That's funny. Skiddamarink-a-dink-a-dink, skiddamarink-a-doo. G.I. Joe, great American hero. I still remember the TV show from the early 80s. Or was it the late 70s? Lou Ferrigno, the Incredible Hulk. That's a trip. All right, I'm going to name a name and name the show. David Hasselhoff, go. David Hasselhoff, go. First one that gets it wins. No, not Baywatch. Okay, I'll give you a hint. Kit. '80s TV show. Knight Rider, there you go. Boom, got it. Man, I know it was all made for TV, but that was just cool. Thought the car was so cool. The front end would go, damn it. They made a new one, really? Oh, I didn't know that, Jamie. Anybody ever watch Xena? Xena the Warrior. The A-Team. The Tar remake. Xena. See, that stuff, I graduated in '85, so the shows came out right after I graduated. Small Wonder, Alf, what was the name of that show with the butler in it? Mr. Belvedere or something. What was that? What was that girl's name? What was the girl's name in that? Not Chunky, what the heck? Punky Brewster. Punky Brewster. Anybody remember that? Chubby Brewster. Oh gosh, I never did like Alf anyway. I thought the show was dumb. Small Wonder was literally role play. A real girl pretending she's a robot. Oh, now that dinosaurs was funny. Not the mama, not the mama, not the mama. You do that one more time, I'm going to throw you across the room. Not the mama. Again. That's classic. Classic. Walking out of the restaurant yesterday with Iraq and his wife, a white family sitting to the right, kid probably right at the edge of middle school, short hair, looked miserably unhappy, looked up at me, and you could just see the no light on in his face. And it just hit me. This generation is very different than when I was in the 80s. It really is. You can truly see the lights are not on in people today. I remember Touched by an Angel. A short circuit with human skin. Home Improvement. Hi, neighbor. That was funny. I used to call it Touched by a Devil. I don't know why. Oh, you're going to go watch Touched by a Devil? I dated a black woman many years ago, older than me. She's dead now, sadly. She's the reason I moved out here. This is what kills me about the people out here. Robin Tate was the reason I moved to Georgia. I dated her briefly in Denver, and she had the voice of Della Reese. I told her, I said, you sound just like Della Reese. She was older, she was intriguing. I met her on a field trip. She drove a bus out of the Northeast Denver terminal. I drove out a hilltop, and she got my curiosity. She was older. I broke it off because, you know, I didn't realize that she was really addicted to cigarettes. I mean, just one right after the other. And she couldn't manage her money. She bought scratch cards and alcohol and cigarettes. And, you know, she moved out here and she just spiraled down. She lived in her room. I rented a room in her house for 3 months out here in 2019. Literally a mile and a half down the road. And she told me, when I moved in, I paid her rent day one. I did a lot of work on her yard and her roof. I stopped the leaking on the roof. Michael, don't let these people hustle you down here. She said, they hustle. And she taught me that. And she shocked me and she said, I don't like it here, Michael. I said, why? I'm not comfortable with these black people down here, Michael. I said, you're black and you're saying that. She goes, they different down here, Michael. I don't like them. That was exactly what she said to me. And, you know, it's weird because There's a lot of black people down here that I call country blacks. They're cool. The country blacks are different. They like to fish. A lot of them can be conservative. Country blacks are different than Augusta blacks. And I'm sorry to say this, but I'm going to be very honest, and I hate to say this about what I've done for 20 years. It doesn't matter where I go. There's something about transportation that attracts a lot of wingnuts, people that would not get a job anywhere else. Bad employees, non-compliant, don't do what they're told. But this place attracts an inordinate amount of them. And they get away with so much stuff here. And I get out there in public, since I'm not there anymore. I went to the flea market and I was talking to a lady that sells, she's a black woman, 65, and her mother was there. Genteel, manly, sweet. I said, so you're her mother? And we were chatting and she was so nice, she kept touching my arm, and maybe you can talk sense to my daughter. I said, I don't know. She's like me, she's pretty strong-willed, and we laughed. And I don't hate all blacks. I've had a bad experience down here. I'm not comfortable living in a town where they're in the majority because there's a lot of corruption. The mayor's shitty here. This city is not forward-thinking. And Augusta would be a good place if you got better leadership. But it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And diversity's been so shoved in my face that I'm sick of it. I love diversity. Everybody that knows me knows I love diversity. I've always been attracted to exotic women with different facial features and skin, and I've always had a curiosity about what's the next bend in the road or what's around the bend in the road. Tammy, where's Tammy? Where's Tammy? Where's Tammy? Tammy in here? How come I don't see Tammy? Memphis is terrible. And I listen to, this is another thing that bothers me. There's such obstinacy in the black community. They refuse to do anything that changes or corrects the problem. They just enable. And you see that with Chicago mayor bashing Trump. Didn't want him to come up there the week before Labor Day. And then you had 54 shootings, 7 dead. Then you got Memphis, which is a crime toilet. And the mayor said, I don't want Trump in here. I don't think that's the way to handle it. I said, well, big boy, you're not handling it. This is the problem. You got a lot of black people. They want the title. They want the money. They want the position. Then do something. And they're not interested in diversity. Let me make that very clear. A lot of the black culture I see in this country is not interested in diversity. They define themselves as a definition of diversity, and all they want to do is hire their own, favor their own, and continue to hold out their shingle to the world that they're victims and we're white supremacists. And I'm tired of it. And you get these people run for office, they're dipping their hand in the cookie jar, they're corrupt as hell, and you see this with transportation, you see this with bad management, immaturity. I have my problems, but I could run things better than half the people in the office could, and I know that. And I've tried to be respectful when I was there. And transportation has always had a habit of promoting bad people into leadership. I remember there was a time hospitals, they would not hire a nurse this big. You used to have a certain amount of hygiene and fitness, to get certain jobs. You go into most transportations, you get an attitude. I called a neighboring county one day. The lady answered the phone, was so pleasant. We actually are all full up. We're not hiring drivers or monitors, but please call us back in November. Very kind. You call down here, hello. It's just, there's a cloud. I noticed that since day one. I got the job. I was happy to get the job, and it didn't take me long to realize, wow. It sucks. And I talked to a woman in Cleveland. She works for Progressive. She works out of her home. And they've been sending out a memo that they're going to focus on DEI hiring. They said it. Corporate America plays a game, and I don't play games. And what happens in our country is people like me who are individuals that think outside the box are being singled out, phased out, shut out. That's not embracing diversity at all. But they'll put DEI hires in there. We got people at work that they're not transgender, but they're trying to be a woman. They're gay, but they got the nails, the whole thing going on. Don't follow the rules. They do not do what they're told. And they still have a job. And they can get on right away with the factory. Their work ethic is poopy. And that's what bothers me, is now I'm the one that's the discriminated against. The white male is discriminated against unless I'm up in the corporate ranks. And it's true. People don't want to admit this. But being a white male in today's society, it does not work in our favor. I'd like to know where the privilege is. .30-inch Chinook. Boy, that'd feed a few people for dinner. That's a big salmon. And they get even bigger. I used to watch the salmon in Duluth going up Lester River in the fall. It was quite the show. That sounds good, Gravity. Smoked fish is good. Well, folks, I'm going to end the stream for now. Your prayers are appreciated. And I will, Lord willing, check in with you all later. You guys have a good day. Be safe. And catch you all on the rebound.